Welcome to Conversations with Sarah. Today I'm joined by Eve from Crystal Moon Emporium to have a conversation about healing using the power of the moon and crystals. Welcome, Eve.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me and talk to us about sort of your own healing journey and how you've used moon and crystals. I'm really interested in crystals, don't really know much about the moon, so I'm quite excited to hear what you're going to tell us today.
So basically, I suffered with a mental health breakdown in 2019 due to anxiety. And I was a nursery nurse for 18 years and the job wasn't helping with my mental health at all. It just got too much. So I got signed off, went through a rigmarole of doctors, appointments, medication, stuff like that. 4 months into being signed off from work, my husband and I had the discussion about me leaving my job and taking the time to find myself rather than trying to find another job. He said, take this time now to find out who you are, what you need, get back to being yourself. So I did that, and it's very, very brave of me to do that because it was completely out of my comfort zone. And from that point, I have literally flourished. So that is how crystals, the moon, my business has all come about because I made that decision to leave my job and find me. People ask me sometimes, when did you first start finding the crystals and the moon? And you know what? The answer is I don't know. I can't tell you a pinpointed thing where I said, oh, I'm going to look at crystals. They kind of just appeared from somewhere. I can't tell you how and when and why. I was looking into more holistic approaches to anxiety, and I was reading about dream catchers. So that's how my journey first started with the business, was I was making and selling dream catchers. And I think it was from that point I got into the more spiritual side of stuff, because like dream catchers are all about sort of the spiritual world and catching dreams and all that. And I think it was probably along that road that I found the crystals, then I found the moon, and then I kind of sort of self-healed using all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting, but I can't give you a pinpoint of yes, it was this day and that reason. And
yeah, it is interesting. Also because neither of us know how we came into contact with each other.
No,
I don't know. You just appeared on my timeline one day when I first started the podcast and was thinking about sort of the type of guests that I wanted to speak with. And you just appeared. And I haven't actually reached out to many people to invite them to be guests, but you are one of the people that I was like, yeah, like this is absolutely on my wish list. You completely resonate with me. And I reached out to you and you were quite resistant to coming on, I think, initially. It wasn't something.
Well, I didn't know what it was because I'd never heard of I had heard of a podcast. I was like, oh my God, I don't have a microphone and I don't have a booth and I don't have headphones. And I was a bit like, oh my God, do I need all this stuff? And you were like, no, it's just a chat. And I was like, oh, okay, then.
Just come on,
having a chat.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting that that's been like your healing journey as well, to just something that just appeared in your life at the right time.
Yeah. But now I've gone on this spiritual journey. I think it's more of things are meant to happen. People are brought into your lives for a reason. Mm-hmm. That's why I believe that now.
Yeah.
Because it's just too weird not to be anything else. It's just too. Yeah.
I agree with you, and I think that's one of the things, because I'm interested in crystals. It's one of the things with crystals, isn't it? You are often drawn to the crystal that is the thing that you need in that moment.
Yeah, definitely. I had this discussion the other day with somebody. You're either drawn to crystals because you like them because they're pretty, mm-hmm. or you're drawn to them because you need the energy that they have. So sometimes in a shop, like if you're walking around in a shop or whatever, you're looking for the most prettiest crystal. So, I want the pinkest one, or I want the most glittery one. And you pick it up. I mean, I've had this before when I was first starting out. I was like, I really need a pretty crystal and all of this. I was picking them up and looking, I'm thinking, that's nice. But you pick up that one crystal that you actually need, it's a whole different ball game. You feel it, you get attached to it very quickly. And then you read why you need it, and you think, yeah. It happened with me with Sodalite. I went to a craft, like not a craft fair, like spiritual fair thing, and I was new to the crystals, and I was looking at this stall and I was thinking I really would like some crystals, so I was looking for the ones that were pretty or worth the money, that sort of thing. Picked up this blue, I don't know if I've got it actually, picked up this blue big Sodalite and instantly felt attached to it. And at this point, I didn't know what Sodalite meant. I didn't know what the properties were. I didn't know what the energy of that was. And I was holding it, and the man on the stall said, "You haven't put that down yet." And I was like, "No, I haven't." I said, "I think I need to take this home." And he said, "That's Sodalite. It's very good for your throat chakra and communication with others and yourself." And at that point, I needed that. I needed that communication to talk to myself, to talk to other people about how I felt and stuff. And something in me, I don't know if it was my energy or what, was saying, you need to take that crystal home with you. So sometimes it's not about what they look like, it's about what you need.
Absolutely. And I think it's so powerful, isn't it? Because we, like you say, we can get drawn into the aesthetic of it. And for me, I think that's part of it, because it's physically seems attractive to you, but that's intuition as well. It's that kind of draw you in, and that one that you really, really think is beautiful on a emotional, spiritual, energy level is often also the one that you need. And conversely, you can, I mean, I've found that I've picked crystals up before and felt like the ick, as I say, and it's like, oh, I don't like, it's not,
the energy's off.
It just doesn't. And I know for people listening who have maybe never experienced crystals, again, it might sound a little bit out there, that touching essentially a rock gives you a feeling. But for me, absolutely it does. It's that it communicates. It does have an energy.
Definitely, it absolutely does. Yeah. And I've said that a lot to people. I know, I mean, at the moment, because of lockdown and people can't go out and buy stuff, but even when you're looking at things on the internet, you have that, oh, I need that. There's something about that crystal that I need. So even looking, so you don't even have to feel the crystal, you can look. They say don't judge a book by its cover. So the most ugliest crystal could actually be the one that you actually really need. And that's why I say to people, I quite like the rough crystals, because you can get the polished ones, which are like polished down, shaped, you know, buffered up and to look nice. But you can also get the rough pieces literally taken from the ground and sold. Obviously they're washed a little bit, but they are the most rawest form of the energy you can get. And that for me resonates a lot more than a tumble stone. So when I'm dealing with crystals, I try and get the raw stuff, the big chunks of stuff, because I feel that when you look at an actual crystal, how it's formed with inside a rock. So with like a geode to the normal eye would just be a rock. So you think, oh, that's just a rock. But as soon as you cut that open and it's kind of like a grapefruit, you know, like or a melon, you cut it open and you show the inside, it's got all the crystals inside. And I think that resonates with a lot of people, that we feel as though, oh, we're just a boring, dull rock thing, you know, useless, whatever. But as soon as you open us up, we are special. We're all unique inside of us, because no two geodes are the same.
So, and I agree with you. It's that thing, isn't it? There's beauty hidden in the most unexpected places, and once you're able to open up and look, it is quite amazing what you can find in there. So tell me a little bit more about the moon baths, because this is a whole new concept to me.
The moon baths, right? Yeah, I took my very first moon bath in April 2019, because I was looking at the dream catchers, the crystals, and then it kind of got onto the moon, because I think I was researching about what crystals helped with certain things, then it got into the moon stuff. And it said about having a moon bath. Now, moon baths are when you take them either a new moon or a full moon, but I more or less do it on a full moon, because it's just feels different. I don't know why. And basically what you're doing is you're having a ritual, which sounds a bit woo-woo to some people, but all a ritual is something that you do monotonously often.
Habit.
So if you do it every month, it's a ritual. You know, I think the word ritual puts people off, but you know, you do your washing every week, it's a ritual.
Yeah.
It's you do it every time.
It's a healing habit, isn't it? It is just
it's a
something
habit
that you do repetitively
exactly.
with
That's
intention.
Yeah, definitely. So basically what the full moon does, the full moon is basically a culmination of everything you've achieved through the last phase of the moon. So you're celebrating what you've achieved, how far you've come. Then you're releasing everything that doesn't serve you anymore. So you're releasing the stuff that you don't want, that you don't need, or the negative, maybe stuff that's happened during the last phase and you just want to get rid of it. So the moon bath is a time to release and let go. You can either do this in a bath, which I think is nice because it's the self-care as well. So I find a lot of ladies, it's usually ladies, find a lot of ladies that don't fully indulge in a bath, and I don't get that. For me, a bath is my sanctuary. I literally love a bath. And for the people that are like, oh no, I just dip in, wash my hair and get out. It's like, no. This bath is not for that. You do not wash in this bath. You do not shave your legs. You do not wash your hair. It is literally, you are at one with yourself. You have that time, even if it's 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever you want. You're in that moment. You're in the heat of the bath. You've got your incense going. You've got your candle. You've got your intentions of what you want to let go of. And it's just a time for you. And I think that resonates with a lot of women, especially because of the self-care and maybe you've got kids and stuff like that. And it is just a time of releasing and letting go. But the new moon baths are more about manifesting. So it's the new moon, it's the new cycle of the moon. Where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve in the next month? Because they're all about a month in apart. So like 29, 28 days. So yeah, new moon's for manifestation and full moon is for letting go and releasing.
And as you're talking, I'm thinking, recently did a podcast on meditation, and we talked about using like showers or shower imagery to cleanse energy. So I'm making that connection that actually completely makes sense. Like, why would you not use that time, that real sort of intention of being within a bath, because you obviously there's products that you sell that you use within that bath, isn't it?
That's right.
And taking that time to be fully within your intentions, within your awareness, within your gratitude of the things that have happened in the last month that have brought you joy, that you want to see more of, and letting, like you say, letting go of what doesn't serve you. I love a bath. I love to lay and indulge and use like salts and oils, and so it sounds very much like the kind of thing that I would enjoy. I quite often meditate in the bath, and it feels like it's that kind of sort of space and energy. And like you say, it's women especially, we can neglect ourselves when we become caregivers, when we become mothers, when we are busy with work or home or the things that we feel that we have to be doing. We can quite easily forget to take time and connect in with who it is that we are. And what it is
that is it in a nutshell. It's getting back to who you are. So it's not a bath for anybody else, it's a bath for you, and it's also time for you. A lot of my ladies that buy the baths are actually mothers, and they're like, I never knew a bath could be this amazing. And I'm like, because yes, you've got children, and yes, you've got commitments, and you've got husbands and wives or whatever you've got, but you've got to strip that back and remember that you are still a person with needs, and you need that time. So the people are like, oh, I can't, I don't have time for that. And I'm like, but do you have time to go to the doctors to make an appointment? Do you have time to make an appointment for your hair, like to go to hairdressers? Do you have time to go and get your nails done? And they're like, well, yeah, I do all that sort of stuff. It's like, why can't you book in an appointment with yourself and have a bath? And they're like, oh, I didn't think of doing that. I was like, it's the same. It's exactly the same. Say to your partner, husband, children, if they're old enough, right, on the whatever date is that the full moon is, I'm going to have a bath. Can you just not interrupt me for about an hour?
And it's so important, I think, especially as mums, to model this self-care, to actually demonstrate to your children that I am going to invest time in me, because when they become adults, when they become caregivers, they will have that gift of knowing that it isn't selfish to take time out. It's absolutely a part of being a healthy, happy adult, to, like you say, schedule that time in with yourself to look after yourself. And I think we forget that somewhere, because as teenagers, most of us, the world revolves around us and our needs, and somewhere along the line where we're learning how to be a part of society, we forget, some of us, that we have needs.
And I think as well with the forgetting about yourself, that's where a lot of mental health issues come in as well, because you forget that you are actually a person with needs, with ideas, with feelings, because you're always worrying about, for me, because I'm obviously not a mother, it was more of moulding myself to fit in with other people. So I was trying constantly to fit in. So I was losing who I was to fit in with other people. And it obviously got to a point with the breakdown and stuff that I was literally like, well, I don't know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
I have no idea where I'm going in life. I was getting confused about everything. Everything was a muddle. Everything was a problem. My anxiety was just out of control. And it was only as again with the job. Yes, people have to have a job. I'm not saying that, everyone leave their job and let's all be hippies and talk to the moon and stuff. But you've got to weigh up. I mean, I was very fortunate that my husband was like, right, I would like you to give up work. And he actually pushed me to do it, because he knew, and he said to me the other day, he said, I knew your potential as you as a person, and I could see that job was smothering you and condensing you down to something that you weren't. So it's about weighing up who you are and what you want, because you only get one life. Completely. Don't waste it trying to fit in with people that aren't your tribe and aren't your people. And I don't regret working. I was a nursery nurse for 18 years, because those skills that I've got are now helping me in this line of work. So teaching people, creatively minded, sort of figuring out activities to do and stuff like that. And also I've got a 2-year-old nephew. So those skills that I had for 18 years, I can now help my sister and all of that, new ideas for him and stuff. So never regret the path you've been on, because the path you've been on was there for a reason, and you should learn from that, learn from your mistakes, learn from your experiences, and move forward with that. Don't live in regret. I've done that job. It's too easy. I could have been like, I did that job for 18 years. What a waste of my life. It wasn't a waste of my life, because I met some lovely people. I gained skills, life skills. And it was just the end. Stuart said to me the other day, would you ever work with children again? And I said, no.
Yeah. But that job brought you to where you are now as well. Because
it really did.
Because had you not had the experiences that you've had, you wouldn't potentially, you may not have got to that place of inquiry. If you were in a space where you were content enough, you may not have started to inquire about crystals and moon.
Absolutely.
And I guess when we become practitioners, I don't know about you, but part of like my things that I think about where I've been with my journey is helping to educate people to maybe not need to get to the place that I was before they recognize that there is other things out there that you can connect in with, and you can get support, and you don't have to do everything on your own, and you can look after yourself. And like it's like you say, it's okay to be a bit different. It's okay because there's loads of us out there that are a bit different. And once you start living in your authentic truth and being who you are, and allowing the world to see that, you become in contact with other people that are like that. So if you are away, be the way, and you'll find other people that are also along that path with you.
And that's actually happened to me. So I know exactly what you're saying is true, because you start showing your true self, and your vibe attracts your tribe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So people are drawn to you because of the way you are. And because I was from the very start honest about my mental health, the way I am, my quirky ways, I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to show everybody who I need to be. And I've made so many lovely connections through this journey, and I will continue to make connections through this journey, because I am now unashamedly me. And I'm not changing for anybody now. If you don't like me, that's fine, but I don't care anymore.
And
which
there's
is a
so much
massive thing
power
for
in
me to
that.
say.
Yeah, because you love who you are.
Yeah.
Because when you accept who you are, it's okay for other people to not like you. You know, when we're grown, like not everyone's going to like you. It's the way of the world. You don't have to be horrible to each other.
Exactly.
Like as
But I
fully
think I
functioning
spent,
adults, you
yeah,
can be like, yeah, you're not my bag, and that's
exactly.
okay.
But you
I
say
wish
you say
well.
that, yeah, it's the thing of where you saying about not everybody likes you. That was one of my biggest fears, of not being
Yeah.
liked.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine me when I was younger or growing up, I needed to be liked by everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. If they
And
didn't
that's
like me, it was a
impossible.
problem. It's impossible. But you can see how that would play on your
Yeah.
mind and be like, well,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? Why doesn't that person like me? Why doesn't that person like me? Because they weren't my tribe. And I was
Yeah.
trying to fit in somewhere that I never was going to fit.
Yeah.
So why bother making yourself fit in with somebody that isn't on your wavelength? It's just
Yeah.
a waste of time. That's a waste of time.
Yeah, because, well, you know, it's like, so being who you are is who you are. That's who you are, and that's kind of what you bring your gifts to the world. You you know, sharing who you are. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the people that aren't the same as you.
No.
They're just maybe on a different journey. They're on in a different place within their journey. You know, definitely there was I had a coming out party years ago for the more spiritual side of me, because I'm very logical, very kind of like facts driven, very you know, yeah, kind of within my mind about stuff. Like I'm really interested in like psychology, neuroscience, and sort of those sorts of things. And but I'd also trained in Reiki and energy healing and all of this other stuff, but people kind of didn't know, because I didn't really share it, because again, that kind of concern about judgment and feeling like
being judged,
it's really out there. Even though a lot of my friends were quite spiritual anyway, there was just something that really held me back, and I sort of just had this decision that I was going to have like a spiritual coming out.
Good idea.
Yeah, and I don't know why, just sort of felt like I just kind of needed to almost explain myself, which I don't feel like I need to do so much now. It is a whole, you know, it's just a part of who I am, and it's stuff that I do, and if it's of interest to you, that's great. And if you want to have a conversation about it, that's great. And if it's not of interest to you, I'm not going to be ramming it down your throat. You know, you can have like completely different opinions to me about these things. I'm interested in
the thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's having an opinion and accepting the other person's opinion. I think there's too many people in the world that just want to be right all the time. Well, no, that's wrong. You can't do that. That doesn't make sense. That's not real. But it's like with oracle cards. Some people don't believe in like tarot and all of that.
Yeah.
I don't like sort of the future telling tarot. I would never delve into that. But with oracle cards, if it brings you comfort that what is written on that card helps you in some way, what's the harm in that?
Yeah.
There's no harm. If holding a crystal helps you get through the day, what harm is that to anybody else? You don't have to understand it. You just have to accept that, okay, that makes them feel better. It's like a child. If a child's upset, you give it a dummy, or you give it a teddy, or you give it a favourite blanket. It comforts them. No one would dare say to that child, well, that's wrong. You're not getting any comfort from that teddy bear.
No.
But they would say that to an adult. Well, that crystal's not doing anything. It's just being respectful of other people's opinions and of other people's views as well.
Yeah.
And I think once you get around that and you understand that not everybody's going to understand and accept it, but you have to have that sort of like agree to disagree mutual ground, and that's fine. So some people don't think crystals help, and they don't believe that the moon can do all this and stuff, blah blah blah. But if it helps some people, then that so be it.
There is actual science though, and this is what helped me make that switch. Going to a museum, and there was quartz crystals, and it was talking about how quartz is used to power watches and power radios, and that was kind of the evidence that I needed, even though on a intuitive level I completely believed in this stuff. On a cognitive intellectual level, it kind of, I couldn't marry it up with the way that I thought about the world, and that was the thing that really kind of helped me accept that there's science. There's science.
Yeah, it's facts, isn't it? But some people are fact driven, aren't they? Some people are like, well, I need a fact and then I'll believe it. which is fine. But again, that's them. That's their journey. That's the way they are.
Yeah.
Me, I'm quite quirky, magical, mystical. I quite like all that stuff. So I don't need
and that's
facts.
it.
If it makes me feel good, I don't need the facts.
There's space for all of that, isn't there? And it is. If it, I guess for me, I like to share that because I know that there's people out there that are starting to get curious and starting to be more open to spiritual inquiry, but their mind can be like, and it's like, well, that's the thing that for me, I was able to kind of be more open to the spiritual stuff. There's so much in the universe that we're not aware of.
Oh God,
there's so much that we accept as truth that we can't see and we can't prove, but as society, we accept it as truth. So if you can suspend your disbelief for a moment and just feel the experience, that can be quite not only mind-opening but heart-opening as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So someone who has never experienced kind of like moon baths, where would you say is a good place for them to start?
If you're more of a visual person, you can do a burning ceremony / ritual, which I do every month in my Facebook group. I don't know if you've seen one of those. I literally have my fire pit outside and people on the live tell me what they want to release. I write it down for them and I put it in my fire pit. So it's basically them seeing it burn. And fire is very therapeutic. Watching something burn is very, it's like a release in itself. So if you're a visual person, then you can do write your what you want to release down and let it burn in either on a candle or obviously be safe.
Somewhere safe.
Don't just burn stuff in your home. Be safe. Or if you're more of a experienced kind of person, then you would do the bath. So you would spend the time making. Somebody in my subscription group actually said it's like the build up to Christmas. Because I think it was the March bath and it was all about sunflowers, and she spent the whole month gathering things ready for that day, almost like Christmas. So when the day comes, she's like, oh, I can so make the bath look really pretty and put my incense in and she bought like a garland of sunflowers to put around her bath, and she said, I've been building up for this all week or all month. So it's about the experience and how it makes you feel. So once you've got in your bath, how it makes you feel, you can do the release ceremony. You can even have a little cat, again, be safe. But if you've got a fireproof bowl or a little cauldron, I've got a cauldron that I use, like a little one, it's not a big thing, like a little cauldron. You can write there while you're in the bath, burn it, watch it burn, relax. Another thing to do is if you're not spiritually, if you're thinking, oh, this sounds good, but I really don't want to get into the burning stuff and the crystals, another thing you can do to release is to have your bath, think about all the negative things you want to get rid of, and then, I know it sounds really weird, and it does feel weird, pull the plug out of the bath but stay in the bath. So, and then you're visualizing as the water drains off of you, a bit like the shower, you're imagining all that negative energy going down the plug and away. And that is very, very therapeutic and very rewarding, because you can feel it, you can sense it, you can fit, and if you imagine all of that negative energy just draining away, that's something you can do in any bath. It doesn't have to be spiritual, it doesn't have to have crystals in it, and that crystals and stuff help because it's
absolutely. But that thinking, the way that we think about the world does shape the way we experience the world. So there is power in our thoughts, and so thinking and letting go and visualizing it in that type of way absolutely has power. And I think that's the thing, if you listen and you think, oh, this does sound like a lot of nonsense, there's nothing to lose by trying it.
There isn't. I did it. When I did my first woman bath, I thought, what is this? Like, I'm not going to get this to bath. I had that first woman bath, and that was in 2019 April, and I've had one every single month since. Because it helps. Yes, I have baths. It's not. I'm not saying, oh,
no. This isn't, like you said. This isn't a get in a bath and have a wash bath. This is
a ritual bath.
I'm taking time for myself in a way that's different, that is intentional. There is power in that. There's power in the intention behind what you're doing. It isn't, you're using that water in a soul cleansing way as opposed to a physically.
Water is very cleansing, and it's what you put into the water as well. So the Epsom salts, the essential oils, the bath salts you want to use, all of that sort of stuff. It's the whole it's the whole package. How you have if you have a bath tray, put some candles on it, put a vase of flowers in your bath. Just make it nice, make it like a sanctuary for you. Don't just, I have some mums and they had their first bath and I was like, well, did you find it relaxing? She was like, well, no, because there was a pile of clothes in the corner and there was all my kids' bath toys around the side. And I was like, no, it's not going to work. You need to cleanse your space, get rid of all the stuff that isn't you, and put things in that you enjoy, candles, chocolate, a cup of tea, things like that. Don't sit in the bath. If you're thinking of doing the bath with a load of like rubber ducks around your bath and a load of like bath crayons everywhere and it's not going to work, because you're literally seeing all the stuff that you don't want to be seeing.
And that I guess really ties into that self-care thing, doesn't it? Because we are making a conscious decision to make the space the way we want it, as opposed to putting up with.
Exactly, that's exactly it.
And
don't put up with stuff.
No.
Make the time. But part of the bath as well is the time spent preparing for that. So part of the way I like doing it is clearing the bath out and then putting all. So it's weird. I come in here and I think, right, what do I want in the bath with me today? It sounds really weird, but I think, right, I'm going to put that plant on there, and I really think about how I want it to look. And then I sit in the bath and I think, oh, I created this for myself.
And it's really interesting. I've cleaned my bathroom before I've come on to speak to you today and removed.
How is that?
I always find like, oh, that's like what? It's not something I normally do before a podcast. I'm normally much more preoccupied with the technical side of things I need to do. But I cleaned my bathroom and I removed some of the clutter in there. They're things that I like having in there, but they're things that I don't need in there. So even on an unconscious level, I think it's sort of come in a little bit where I've been paying attention to the lives and thinking about you today. Like it's made me go, I'm gonna go and clear my space,
clear it. That's it.
So I just think it's really interesting when you do start to consider the environment that you're in and the way that it impacts you, and like just having that intention to make yourself the most important person in that space for that time. Like it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? And being able to do it guilt-free.
And the amount of people, I say people, it's mostly ladies, the amount of ladies that buy the box on a whim and then go, that was the best bath I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, yeah, I know, that's why I sell them, because I want other women to feel this way. I want people to have that experience. And the thing is as well, people listening or whoever might be thinking, I really want to do that, but I have no idea what to buy. No idea what to buy. That's why I created these boxes, so that you can just get them and be like, right, I've got everything I need. All that you don't have, obviously, is the bathtub and the water in your box. Everything else is in there. So it's that case of, if you're not, and I don't mean this in a derogative way, if you're not creatively minded, it's having that thing of, I can get that, and I can be involved in this. And then along the way you think, actually, I'm going to buy that for my bath because I've had the experiences before, and now I know that might look nice in my bathroom when I have my bath. And you start to your mind starts to expand. And you get more creative with your baths. I know it sounds really weird.
No, not at all. Because again, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed and busy with life, and like self-care has become a non-priority.
It shouldn't be a chore.
No, and that's
shouldn't be a chore.
Starting at a place where if someone's got something that appeals, so the moon bath boxes that you do, that's a place to start. And if you decide then to go out and source your own stuff, brilliant. But it like you say, it removes one of the barriers to self-care, because it's like, I can order this thing, it's going to turn up, and then I can start to experiment with what my ritual is. We all have to start from somewhere with self-care. And
absolutely.
I did it overwhelming.
I did my first full moon bath, and it was the pink moon in April. So I made a conscious effort to have everything pink in there. And I think I bought some like bath salts or something with rose petals or something. So I put them in there, and it just, everything was pink. And I'd never had a bath like it. And I just thought, I wonder if I could sell these. And my first kits were tiny baby boxes with the most tiniest little tea bag full of bath salts. I think there was a tiny selenite and a tiny amethyst and a sample face mask and a tub tea, herbal tea. It was tiny. And now they've grown because people are wanting them, and I've grown as a person and I've more experienced in doing them, so I know what goes in them. And it's just fun for me to create these themed boxes every month. And that's what I say with the creative side comes out. The part that I was hiding because it wasn't, being creative, it's not the thing to be. Now I am, and it's just amazing. So yeah, just have fun with your baths, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Just do it. Just do whatever. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong way either. There's no right or wrong way. If you only want one candle in the bath, just have a candle. There's no people say, "Oh, I'm going to do it wrong." You can't do a full moon bath wrong. You can't. It's what you make it. It's the experience that you have with it. As long as you let go, and as long as you've relaxed, as long as you've released, relaxed, and let go, then the bath has been a success.
Yeah. And I think there's something in kind of acknowledging as well, if you haven't done those things, that's okay. You can do it next month, or reflect on what the barriers were to those things.
Absolutely.
Because for me, with like all the work that I do, I sort of talk about like inquiry and being curious. Like if you have an intention to do something and then you don't follow through, don't criticize yourself for it, because that isn't helpful. That doesn't help you. It doesn't motivate you to. It's a place of inquiry. Consider, why didn't I do my bath? What stopped me using this thing? And it might be that you felt silly. It might be that you didn't think you deserved to do it in that way. It can really help you connect into what's going on inside you. What holds you back. It's so much bigger, isn't it, with these rituals? It's so much bigger than just the thing that you're doing. It is what stopped you doing the thing that you were doing, and that can help you tap into why you don't self-care, why you don't enforce your boundaries, why you don't do the thing that excites you in life. It can be so much bigger, or it can just be a relaxing bath. It is whatever it is that you
at the end of the day, it's just taking that time for you, and it's what you make of that time and how you use that time that you have allocated yourself, how you use that to benefit you. And this is why I work with the moon phases, the four. And if you're not a spiritually minded person, the phases can help you, especially if you find yourself getting overwhelmed or suffer with anxiety, or even maybe sometimes depression. It can actually give you a pinpoint of how to focus on different things. So for example, when you're in the waxing crescent, so the new moon is basically new beginnings, manifesting what you want to achieve, what goals you have, what ideas you want to shape and stuff like that. Then you have the waxing phase. Now the waxing phase is when the moon is getting bigger, going up to the full moon. So that is all about projects, about doing. It's a very doing phase. So getting the house cleared, doing that project, starting that new job, stepping out of your comfort zone. It's a very active doing phase. Then you have the full moon, which is basically a culmination of everything you've done in the new moon and the waxing phase, thinking about how you're doing it, what you've been doing, and you say, what didn't I do? What didn't I achieve? How can I improve that on the next phase? It's kind of like, do you know when you did science experiments and you had the aim, the conclusion, and that it's kind of like that. So if you think about it, if you think about it like that, so then you use the full moon to celebrate what you've done, be grateful for what you've achieved. What have I learned from these experiences? And then release and let go everything else that doesn't serve you. And then after the full moon, you have the waning phase, which is all about where the moon is getting smaller. So you can visually use that as, well, the moon is going into itself. So you go into yourself, do a lot of self-care, do a lot of journaling, do a lot of things that make you happy to comfort and nurture yourself. And then the moon, when it comes to the new moon / dark moon, depending on, Americans sometimes call it dark moon, but it's new moon, it's the same thing. The moon hides, and sometimes we need to hide. Yeah. So take examples from the moon and work your mindset through the phases. And you know what? The ladies in the group, they're like, this is mind-blowing. I've never, not even on a spiritual level, they're like, what phase is the moon in? And I'm like, right, it's waning. All right, okay, I'll do some self-care today. Yeah. What phase is the moon in? It's in waxing. Oh, right, excellent. I'll get on doing that, clearing the shed out or whatever it is. It just gives you that pinpoint. Doesn't have to be, that's not spiritual. That's not spiritual. That's
focused intention, isn't it? Yeah, it's just being mindful. It's being focused. It's being consciously aware. It's making conscious choice. It's just sort of having something to help you stay focused.
Like a
prompt. It's kind of no difference to a to-do list, really.
No, exactly. That's it. But it's nicer than a to-do list, isn't it? Yeah, because it's more
absolutely.
magical.
I can get more on board with that than a to-do list.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people, you can plan your to-do list around the moon. When you're really in sync with it, you actually get the energy. So sometimes people might feel a little bit drained into the when the full moon has happened. They're like, oh God, I feel so drained, because they've spent the waxing period, the waxing phase, being busy, which is what the moon's doing. The moon has got to its fullest potential. It can't do any more. So it's like, right, now I'm going to go back into myself, and then I'm going to refresh, and then I'm going to come back. So you can't, the moon can't be full all the time, and neither can you. As a person, as a human, you cannot be full all the time. You need that time to rest, to do projects. You need the time to grow. You need the time to go into hiding. You need all of that. And if you think about that in a metaphorical way, if you visualize what the moon does, that's what we should be doing. Sometimes we're full, sometimes we're in your face, and sometimes we just want to be on our own. And that's not wrong. If people are like, oh, I can't do that, why not? Why can't you?
We often think we have to be busy all the time, and I completely agree with you. It's so important to take time to reflect. It's so important to take time to rest. And if the only way that you are going to do that is to tie it to the moon, do it.
And again, and this is what we were talking about earlier, if it brings you comfort, then there's no harm in it. No harm in it. And you can go as woo-woo as you like with it.
And I think that's the thing.
Choice.
Be however you want it to be. There is no rules around this stuff.
There's no judgment.
No, and anyone who's going to gatekeep it and tell you that you have to do it this way, perhaps, unless that's what you need, they're not the right person for you.
But look, don't stress about it. The moon is always there. So use the phase of the moon that you're in to have your bath with. So I do new moon kits as well, which is like a manifestation bath, but you can use the kits to however you want. So if it's a waxing phase and you're having your bath, use it to be productive in your mind. Like, oh, what can I do? And write stuff down and blah, blah, blah. It's the waning phase. It's the self-care. So I say to them, don't worry too much about the day. It's the experience you want. Because these boxes and these full moon rituals aren't meant to be stressful.
No, it's the complete opposite, isn't it? If it's stressful, then again,
don't do it.
Reflect on it. Reflect on what this is what I would say. Reflect on what pressure you're putting on yourself and what conditions you're putting on yourself. Because it's that's what I'm all about. That kind of curious inquiry. Don't give yourself hassle for it.
No,
it's okay if you missed the day. Consider
and the thing is as well that the full moon is usually the energy of the moon is there a couple of days before and a couple of days after, so it really doesn't matter if you're not actually on the day. As long as you're within sort of 4 days between it, then the energy is still there.
Perfect. We're probably at a space now, if that feels okay, to bring it to an end. Yes, is there anything you'd like to leave people that are listening to us? Is there anything you'd like to leave them with to consider? Just
be yourself, guys.
Yeah,
that's the best person to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't worry too much about what other people think.
Yeah, if you're not hurting anyone, then just like have at it, live your best life. That's what it's all about, isn't
That's
it?
exactly it. Live your best life, because you only get one.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks
for having
me.
me.
And thanks to people that are listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. To connect and find out more about me and my guest, you can follow SRTT podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And we'll be back next week with another guest. Thank you very much. Goodbye.